Greetings to Madam Hazlin. My name is Serafina Blina Rafael, matrix number F1066, together with my teammates Vanessa Grace, matrix number F1004, Ande Nur Fariha Hazira, matrix number F1050, and Aida Liana Ma, matrix number F1010. And today we will be presenting about peer pressure amongst students. To start off with our video, I will be explaining briefly about peer pressure. Peer pressure is the direct or indirect influence on peers. Members of a peer group are more likely to influence a person's beliefs, values, and behavior. A group or individual may be encouraged and want to follow their peers by changing their attitudes, changing their values, and their interests. Peer pressure can also affect individuals of all ethnicities, genders, and ages. Therefore, I will be talking about the causes of peer pressure amongst students. There are three main points that I would like to highlight in the causes of peer pressure, which are fear of rejection, social acceptance, and the want to be liked. The first cause of peer pressure that I would like to talk about is the fear of rejection. Many students have this fear of being left out by their peers. For example, their friends will like a particular celebrity or genre or any other thing which they don't have an interest in. Therefore, they will feel pressured to like that thing as well in order to not be left out. They will also feel separated from their friend group as they don't have a topic to bond over. So, in cases like this, many students they feel pressured to like the same thing as their friends because of the fear of being rejected by them. In this world, many people want to be liked, and having a friend group that doesn't interact with you much or talk about their interests with you because you don't have the same interests as them makes students feel like they don't belong in that place. Therefore, this makes students have experienced peer pressure and they don't feel like they deserve to be in that place, or they don't feel like they are accepted by their peers. This is why it is important to find a friend group or a particular person that will have the same interests as you and have the same bond with you so that you can talk about things that you like together. So the second point that I'd like to talk about is social acceptance. Some students who are introverts don't often have good luck in new places because many of their classmates and the new people that they meet already have their own friends which they have known for years. Therefore, new students often feel left out and unworthy of being friends with their new classmates. Some of them, however, do try to like the same interests and like the same things that their classmates like, or they will pretend to be someone that they are not just to be accepted and to be liked by their new peers. This causes a student to feel pressured as they need to keep that image throughout the whole years of knowing their friends because they are scared to reveal their true selves because they are scared of being rejected after their peers know who they truly are. And in the long run, they will be tired because they have to keep a mask on in fearing that their new friends wouldn't like their true personality. Hence, why some students change over time and will start distancing themselves from their peers as they cannot keep up that fake image. Because having this fake image is really tiring because you are not acting like how you truly are. So some students will feel very pressured and will feel very tired in holding their relationships with their new friends. Therefore, they will start to not talk to their friends, and will feel like all of this is useless and for nothing. This is another form of peer pressure, as they would like to be accepted by everyone, but don't have the they just feel like they don't have the right personality to fit in. The third point that I like to talk about is wanting to be liked. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to be liked by many people? It gives us the satisfaction when someone says that they like being friends with us or just like our presence in general. However, some students don't have that outgoing or friendly personality that will attract others to them. With this fact comes the reality that they are not likable. Moreover, they will overthink things and feel like they have a boring personality. This tends to lead to them getting involved with negative influences from peers that are bad and overall a bad influence. Activities such as smoking or vaping, drinking alcohol, and going clubbing are some of the examples of the bad activities that students these days will get involved in. They might think that participating in these activities will make them look cool and will make them be liked by peers. In reality, they will only be liked by bad peers who will lead them to a bad future. Therefore, students must always think rationally to not involve themselves in negative things, as it will affect their image and also tarnish their reputation. With that being said, it is crucial for us to find the right friends or the right peers that will lead us to a more positive life than bring us down the negative road. More about this topic will be presented by my groupmate, Vanessa Grace. There are 6 types of peer pressure, which are positive, negative, direct, indirect, spoken, and unspoken.
Greetings to Puan Hazlin and all the floor members. I'm Vanessa Grace Richard and I'll be talking about the types of peer pressure. Peer pressure or influence comes in several forms, and these types of peer pressure can have a tremendous impact on a young person's behavior. Research shows the most impressionable age for peer pressure seems to be the middle school years. This is when a child is forming new friendships and choosing an identity among those friends. It is also the most common age for kids to start experimenting with alcohol, drugs, sexual activities, and other risky behaviors. Very often, the drive to engage in this kind of behavior is the result of a negative peer pressure. Adolescents who have larger circles of friends appear to be less influenced by the suggestions or actions of their peers, but the pressure to conform is very real at this age. Here's a breakdown of 6 types of peer pressure and the examples of them. The most known peer pressure is the positive peer pressure. A group dynamic can be a form of positive peer pressure if the behaviors are healthy, age-appropriate, and socially acceptable. Positive peer pressure examples can include a peer group that wants to make good grades and positively influences a young teen to study, or if a popular friend wants to earn money and save to buy a car. A less outgoing teenager may also be influenced to get a job and open a savings account. If members of the football team take a pledge to abstain from drinking alcohol to focus on staying healthy and having a winning season, other students may adopt the same behavior. Next, moving on to the negative peer pressure. Asking a young teenager to engage in behavior that is against their moral code or family values is a type of negative peer pressure. Teens see the actions of other teens with stronger personalities and are put in a positions of following the leader or walking away. It's not uncommon for teens with strong morals to find themselves engaging in behaviors that goes against their beliefs, simply because they want acceptance. Young people often lack the skills to come up with an excuse or reasons to say no to peer pressure. We have talked about the most common known peer pressure, but what about the others? Next, we have the direct peer pressure. This type of peer pressure can be spoken or unspoken. Direct peer pressure is normally behavior-centric. Peer pressure examples of this kind of behavior would be when a teenager hands another an alcoholic drink, or makes a sexual advance, or looks at another student's paper during a test. The other teen is put in a position of having to make an on-the-spot decision. Next, we have indirect peer pressure. Similar to unspoken peer pressure, indirect peer pressure is subtle but can still exert a strong influence on an impressionable young person. When a teen overhears a friend gossiping about another person and then reacts for the gossip, that is indirect peer pressure. Or if a middle schooler learns that the popular kids' party include alcohol or drugs, that indirect peer pressure may prompt them to experiment as a way to gain acceptance. Moving on, we have spoken peer pressure. Spoken peer pressure is when a teenager asks, suggests, persuades, or otherwise directs another to engage in a specific behavior. If this is done in a one-on-one environment, the recipient of the influence has a stronger chance of adhering to his or her core values and beliefs. If, however, the spoken influence takes place within a group, the negative peer pressure to go along with the group is immense. Last but not least, we have unspoken peer pressure. With unspoken peer pressure, a teenager is exposed to actions of one or more peers and is left to choose whether they want to follow along. This could take a form of fashion choices, personal interactions, or joining types of behaviors, which is clubs, cliques, teams, and etc. In this case, many young teens lack the mental maturity to control impulses and make wise long-term decisions. Because of this, many teens are more susceptible to the negative peer pressure influence from older or popular friends. To summarize, various types of peer pressure triggers different reactions from people. Thus, everyone should know the types of peer pressure so they know what they are dealing with and how they are going to deal with it. That's all from me. I'll be passing on to Fariha to continue with this presentation.
There are two types of effects of peer pressure among students, which are the positive effects and the negative effects.
Today, I'm going to talk about the effects of peer pressure towards students. Due to the various outside forces, peer pressure differs greatly from person to person. Any external influence, including those of friends, social media, family, and so on, can contribute to peer pressure. The individuals surrounding us matter just as much as the social context we have with other students, since they have a significant impact on our growth and mental health. It is very common for young people to look towards other people who are in the same situation. Unfortunately, this is not very healthy action, as most people make bad decisions. But because young people don't know any better, they will decide to join in. Peers can be positive and supportive, and also can give a negative effects. Positive peer pressure means when an individual's peer encourage them to do something positive or help the individual in their personal growth. The positive effect of peer pressure is it will create a sense of belonging. Having friends and feeling connected to a group gives students a sense of belonging and being valued, which helps develop confidence. Friendship also helps students learn important social and emotional skills, such as being sensitive to other people's thoughts, feelings, and well-being. Having peers help us in studies, as it pushes us harder to do better in some important tasks, and become motivated, as it helps to create a sense of belonging with our peers. It is always good to have people who are supportive and always there for us in difficult times. So, the last one is can enhance self-confidence. Positive peer pressure helps a person's self-esteem, because peers will always try to bring out the best of each other and challenge themselves. The self-confidence happens because we will realize our strength from all the experience we get, and also because of all the support from peers. Feeling supported by someone who accepts us for who we are can boost self-esteem. That is why we need to build friendship with the right people. However, peer pressure can also have negative effects, which can cause low self-esteem. Negative peer pressure is known to affect more students than positive peer pressure. A normally confident student can start to be insecure about themselves and start self-doubting themselves due to the negative peer pressure around them. The lower self-esteem and lack of confidence in their skills may affect the well-being of such student. Negative peer pressure can have a negative impact on a student's self-esteem. In some cases, students find themselves too dependent on their peers as they begin to develop problems with self-confidence. Teasing from others can cause teenagers to feel as if they are not as good as their peers. If someone shows a sign of having low self-esteem, peer pressure may be partly to be blamed. Low self-esteem is such a serious issue that can affect students in several ways. Teens who have low self-esteem may be overly self-critical and hard on themselves. They may be more focused on their own failure than their successes, or they might be too unsure of themselves to make an effort in the first place. They may allow other artists or adults to mistreat them without standing up for themselves, and they might struggle to cope when they make mistakes or fail at something. Additionally, it also can give a bad impact on grades. Even if a student is fully capable of gaining a good score in academics, he or she can still choose to not study because peers are making studying look uncool. Teenagers want to belong to a peer group, and sometimes they try to fit in with the wrong one. Under peer pressure, like trying to be like others members or not wanting to get bullied for getting good marks from those peers, can lead to a very bad impact on the grades of that student. They also can encourage is either to skip classes, steal, cheat, use drugs or alcohol, share inappropriate material online, or become involved in other risky behaviors. And lastly, they can also adapt to harmful habits. Peer pressure can cause a loss of individuality. It can make a teen adapt to habits they never would have if peers weren't a part of their life. Drinking, smoking, drugs, and such dangerous habits are something can get addicted to because of peer pressure. At this point, long-term consequences do not matter to them as long as they feel accepted by their peers.
Let's talk about how to deal with peer pressure. Following are ways to deal with peer pressure. There are many ways to deal with the various types of peer pressure you can experience. Some ways to handle it include: first, being aware of how you feel about the situation and environment you're in when the peer pressure is happening. If you can pay attention to your emotions, you can often find yourself leaving a situation before you may be peer pressured into doing something you may not actually want to do. Next, respect yourself. People will not respect someone who's easily pressured into doing things. If you want others to respect you, you got to start by respecting yourself. Now, this doesn't mean ignoring what everyone else says just to do whatever you want. The irony about peer pressure is it really only helps the people pressuring you. But if you respect yourself, you are going to always prioritize what's best for you long term. On top of that, you must choose your friend carefully. Whether you realize it or not, when you surround yourself with these kind of people, you are going to start acting like them. And this is how you make peer pressure work in your favor. They'll be pulling you up instead of down. If you're having a hard time finding friends like this, here's an idea. Find older or more mature people. They are usually easy to be friends with and have valuable things to share with you. Moreover, we must learn that friends come and go. As we grow up, we'll discover and experience new things and part ways for sure. You are going to a different school, get a different job, move to a different town or country, but that doesn't mean you will never talk to them again. It's just that if your path might cross again someday, don't ever let them pressure you into doing something you are going to regret. Furthermore, if you are having trouble dealing with peer pressure, Get advice from an adult you can trust. Speak with a parent, a teacher, or a school counselor. It can make you feel a lot better. They can assist you in preparing for the next time you confront peer pressure. In addition, teenagers fear saying no to friends or peers. They are concerned that doing so will jeopardize a good relationship. They must also understand that there are circumstances that when saying no is acceptable. Taking illegal substances or driving with someone who has been drinking are examples of scenarios when you must say no. Parents should be responsible for assisting their children in setting boundaries. It is possible to refuse politely. Although we must be nice, it is also critical, especially for the girls, to understand that a firm no can be the proper thing to do. When people learn to set their own limits, they will feel more in control of themselves in many situations throughout their lives. After all, look for positive peer partners. If you lack the confidence to go on your own, seek out a like-minded buddy or friend who feels the same way you do in a certain situation. If you are being pressured to skip class, are tempted to use drugs, or are worried about classmates bullying another classmate, having a buddy who is likewise willing to say no makes it easier to resist that pressure.
To conclude our presentation today, peer pressure is a thing that is experienced by many students these days. Therefore, students must learn how to manage that pressure properly so that it won't lead them down a negative and bad road. Peer pressure should be taken in a more positive way so that they may develop themselves to become a better person with a better attitude, so that they will get to evolve socially and make friends easily. With that being said, that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for watching and have a good day.